Hey, hello everyone, welcome to today's video. It is 11th of November. I'm Chris here with Elevate Cafe. Let's take a look at what the price action is telling us. We talked about the wave counts yesterday and pretty much nothing it's unchanged. So you want to take a look at those. That's kind of the place to go for the update. But I want to talk a little bit about the price action because things continue to develop positively here for the equities. Last week it was bad, but we continued to look pretty good. I mean, today we sold off a little bit, but then we climb and again we're closing towards the high. Clear reaction from that uptrending moving average. So we're going to continue to stay with the trend in here and probably increase exposure to the market. A bit lower volume today, but nothing too concerning. The Nasdaq Composite in here was a bit weaker, so you can see kind of the growth rate was more under attack. But if you look at the Dow Jones, it's almost about to make new all-time highs. So definitely a bit of a rupture here in the market between, let's say, value and growth, but it's just a matter of a little bit of a rotation. So I continue to like kind of what I see. I continue to like the reaction, the fact that, the bears did not have enough of an ammunition to turn this market down. I was talking, if they want to do this, these are the levels to kind of do it from. Now, there's still some chances in here, but by the way the Dow Jones is moving, this gives me confidence that probably the rest of them are going to follow as well. So, the Russell is also a bit weaker in here. It recaptured that 50-day, but we still need to see maybe a break above this kind of 2,500 in here. Then it would be, a little bit better for the resumal of the uptrend. And what other, metric to kind of watch in here for fear and for a risk other than the VIX, which after the quick jump towards 22, it's crashing back below 19, and we're trading at about 1832. So VIX in here looks good. I think it's tough to kind of take bearish bets when you see VIX coming back so sharply right away. So I like that. I also like what's going on with the dollar index that's been getting that a sell-off reaction from a declining 200-day moving average, and it's being supported here at the 20. So it's just a little bit kind of converging in here, but I think it remains in a longer term downtrend, and it should help risk assets, if it continues to kind of break lower. Now, if we do get back above 100, right, that's going to put pressure on the markets. 10-year yields, are doing fine here at about 410. Oil, it is caught a little bit of a bit today. It doesn't look bad. It looks like we're having a three-wave setback in here. So any move back above 62, I think it could, probably be traded for an attempt back towards 65. So watch oil here on a break above 62. Gold and silver, both of them had nice reactions from the 50-day moving average, continue to provide a nice uptrend, or to continue the uptrend in here with silver getting back to 51. So I like it. I also like it on a weekly time frame. I talked about this one yesterday. So silver looks good. Again, if the bears want to take a chance, these levels in here are usually the ones that are going to try to react negatively. But so far, we haven't gotten a move in the opposite direction. Now let's take a look a little bit of the Bitcoin, which, after a nice move, getting back to 107, close to 108, it's getting a little bit of a reaction. This, just by not even looking in any smaller time frame, you could look at this as maybe a tiny little diagonal in here. We'll see if this is a wave two. If this is a wave two, maybe do an A, B, and a C. But you want to stay ideally above 61.8 of this move, from these lows to this highs as it's coming back. Anything lower than that starts to be a bit problematic. I do like it still on the weekly time frames because we closed above that long-term moving average. I think this is the 52-week, and they were trying to take it below that but failed. and now we're just kind of maybe shaking the tree a little bit as a reaction to this bullish move. We'll see what happens. If we do lose the low, I think that's a problem, and we could be beginning maybe a larger move lower. So it's important that we hold current levels and maybe even a bit lower towards 101. But anything below that starts to put pressure on those lows, and if we're breaking below, I think that if we go back and look at the weeklies, if we take down that week, last week's low, I should say, we could run into more problems, and then we can go back towards like a 92, maybe even 90. If you look at the wave counts, I've talked about those levels coming into focus. So there's still a bit more to go if we measure, let's say, the 61.8 of the move from this low to this high. But for right now, no need to speculate on that. Let's see how we react on the current levels. It's possible that by tomorrow we'll be back and overtaking this high and moving higher. And XRP, just a reaction from a declining now 50-day, which crosses above the 200. So that's a bearish development. It's important that we overtake these levels. But listen, it doesn't matter that much, kind of what the price action does. I guess the more important thing is like, what are you gonna do? Right, and none of these are actionable in any way. I was waiting for Bitcoin to kind of move a bit higher to start to become actionable, just to start dipping my toes in with a little position. It hasn't done so, so nothing to do. It doesn't mean I'm going bearish. XRP, nothing to do. Ethereum, above that long-term moving average, but still kind of fighting declining levels in here. So nothing to do, just kind of waiting for the price action. And again, if we lose those levels from last week, that means further defensive action has to be taken. But until that happens, it could be a little bit of a tug of war as we're trying to establish these levels. So, once again, I'm remaining, fairly optimistic on the equity markets based on this nice V reversal that we're seeing back in here. I'm supportive. I see support because of the dollar kind of declining. The yields are fine. The precious metals are reversing and starting to move back to the upside. Bitcoin is a bit, how should I say, disconnected, right, from the risk assets. But we'll continue to watch that, and I also like the VIX, that effect that it came lower. So we'll see. Maybe there's some data that still needs to come in to try to kind of push this market a bit heavier into one direction or another, but we haven't gotten anything of importance just yet. So again, thanks for watching. See me on Discord and on Twitter for any other updates or for comments, any questions for that matter. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.